Hi everyone, this is Subspace Desktop Weekly Meeting. Last week we didn't do the meeting. I was away and now I came back. Glad to see you all together. So for the changes, the last 2 weeks for me was changing the workflows so that we can support OpenCL and provide you two different releases for one with OpenCL and one without OpenCL. That required to change our CI tests and the publish workflow. There is actually the closed PR about that. So now we do have support for OpenCL, and which means you will be able to utilize your GPU for faster plotting. This is merged to main, so we have the support. And we changed the CI workflow in this PR, so our GitHub will check for this feature as well. And now the next step is to change the publish workflow, and in which I assume we got most of the things covered. I will try the commands on my macOS as well, because Serge reported that he ran into an issue on his local macOS for this publish workflow. After that is finished, I think this PR will be ready to review. It's now a draft. Other than that, let me give you updates on the rotating logs as well. I commented yesterday on the tracing, Tokyo tracing repository, and they said they will make some commits to my branch as well, and then they will finalize it. So it's on the way, and it will be more secure. So then we can have the rotating logs functionality in Subspace Desktop. Other than that, I believe no new or closed issues since the last meeting. Yeah, I think Serge can take over for the other updates if you don't have any question for me. Okay, I'm gonna stop presenting. Serge, floor is yours.
Thanks. Sharing screen. Okay. So it's update for more last week, because we didn't have everyone. So mostly I was working on the technical debt issues, because I still have a lot of new features in the pipeline, but as we discussed previously, they require some clarifications or new mockups, and hopefully we will discuss it. So what was done is we had this issue for internationalization. So we had this problem that some texts labels in the UI application were hard-coded, and some of them were in the JSON file. Currently, we have only English version, but in the future, I think at some point we started to plan for other languages. So in order to add other languages, we had to get rid of these hard-coded labels. So yeah, this issue was closed with this PR. I have added a library for Vue.js to introduce internationalization. So now we have every text in the JSON file. It looks like this. So in order to add another language, we just need to provide these values. And also, if we want to add language select on UI, we need to also think how we can implement it on how it should look like, because currently we have this functionality only under the hood. Any questions on this one? Okay. Another PR was update for our mnemonic model. So when we when we open the application for the first time and the user creates an address, we show him a mnemonic seed phrase. And previously, we were storing it inside the application. And when the user was closing the model, we removed it, which is kind of redundant. So this PR just simplified things a little bit. I removed this logic to store and delete, and we just show it once we need it and forget about it afterwards. Yeah. Another issue I created was related to block height. So when we start plotting, we start usually with value, which is pretty close to the highest block on our public RPC node. For example, if you go to polka.apps, we can see like a number of the highest block, right? However, when we start plotting here in the desktop, this value can change depending on what peers we are connected. So for example, if we are connected to the nodes that are still syncing, this value can drop, and it can drop significantly. And this is what I had. Actually, in my case, this is what I only captured, but the value could drop like to 3. First digit it was 3, and then yeah, so it could lead to some confusion for our users. And I created this issue. Then I submitted a PR for a potential fix, and then we had discussion with Nazar. And eventually we decided that it is better to keep this highest block value as now, because this is what our node thinks is the highest block. Because if we want to guess what is the actual highest block, it can complicate things. So in order to avoid confusion, I think we could add something like a tooltip that will say that this highest block is a potential target, not the actual highest block. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, but it's more complicated than that, and there's a root problem that we need to solve. It's kind of like a band-aid solution, and it's probably more information than we need. It's not the proper way to design it. I think that honestly, we can probably just leave that for now. I'm glad that you've caught that issue and documented it, but it's probably not worth adding something to fix something that's really the result of a deeper problem that we should really be fixing, which we just can't fix right now. But the protocol team's working on it. So you're sort of dealing with a protocol team issue that will get resolved soon, hopefully.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. We just keep it as is for now.
Yeah.
Okay, and as I mentioned yesterday, I started to work on the next iteration for the updater feature. So, and again, we didn't have like full requirements discussed and like mock-up. So I was doing it as I could like imagine to my best ability. So what have I'm showing you a screenshot because I don't want to switch branches and build the project. So I have added this item in the menu. Currently, we have this updater feature working when we first start the application, we have a dialog if there is a newer version, and user can install it or reject it. And from now on, if he rejected or she, there will be this item in the menu that there is a newer update. And if we click, it will install update and restart the application. Also, this PR will introduce polling for our updater server. I think we discussed it like once or twice a day, or like in particular interval, to check for new updates. And if there is a new update, we will show this same dialog, and again we will have this menu item. So yeah, let me know if that works for you guys, or should I change anything?
It would be great to see an actual demo of that at some point, Serge. It's hard to get feedback on screenshots. It looks good so far. It makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, in order to finalize it, I need, because currently updater feature it's in the main branch, but we don't have a release with this feature because our oldest recent release was like 3 weeks ago, so it's not there yet. So in order to finalize it, I need like a release with updater feature, so I can, yeah, integrate it fully. And
okay, so you mean, if I'm understanding you, you're saying we need to release a new version of the app to the community in order to release this?
Yeah, so we have previously, I have just added updater feature, which by default just checks for new updates when we launch the application. So this is already merged. This is already in the main, and we need to release this because it has this integration with our Cloudflare Edge function, which is our updater server.
Okay, so let's release it. Is there anything stopping us from doing that? Are we I guess, what do you mean by release? Do you just mean we need to update the branch, or you mean we're like publishing it to the community and that's what they're going to start downloading?
Yes, publish to the community.
Okay, so have we tested it?
Yeah, of course, it requires testing before we make a release.
But have we done that?
I tested it before I committed, before I submitted the PR. But have we tested everything?
So we've done like local development testing, but not like testing
Yes.
with the community or with like our testers.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So that needs to. So we would need to test it with the community before we could release it, or like at least with the team. I mean, that's like a major feature change, right? Like a big change. So.
Yep.
We can use pre-release for that before turning it to release as usual. And by the way, one more comment for the install update button. I think it makes sense, but the most common thing I saw in other applications is install update from the default operating system menu. For example, I'm now on Brave and in macOS, so I click on the top Brave menu, and then there's a like install update or something like that, instead of the local UI of the application. So maybe in the future we can move that install update to the OS level menu.
No, usually you have in both. Like
okay.
if you check in the browser, you also have like in the right top corner, usually there is a like an arrow, green arrow, that there is an update.
Okay.
So I can add both, but I think we don't have currently like a native OS menu. It's like a standard.
We only do have it for macOS because in Windows and Linux there were no use case for that menu and it was looking ugly. For macOS we had to have that because without it we don't have the functionality of copy paste and other shortcuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we actually have an issue. Improve menu, something like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Let me find it. Menu. Yeah, this one. Improve the menu.
Yeah.
So this issue is about like this operating system native menu, right?
Yes.
It's not about in-app menu.
No, yeah, you're right.
Okay. Yeah, okay. It would be nice if we can clarify what happens, what should exactly happen when we click each of these items. And yeah, I can move, like if we agree, then I can move update menu item also to the native one.
I think it's probably fine how it is right now, Serge. It's more just does it work versus like does it have the best UI at this point.
Okay.
But I think that's probably good feedback to eventually make it consistent with the UI. But I think again, we're like making we're trying to make incremental changes to the UI. It's going to just accumulate a bunch of stuff. Like we need to do like a proper UI redesign. You know, as like we're trying to do with the other screen. So we just got to be careful about like piecemeal designing an interface. So more important really is just, does it work? It doesn't have to be the perfect user interface at this stage.
And one last update.
What you have is good enough is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting. One last update for the open PRs is I didn't show it because it's a one-liner change from Nazar. Nazar submitted a PR about improving the sync success rate for the Subspace desktop app. It's just like changing the default value of 25 peers to 50. That's all.
Yeah, one more thing I was also I wanted to mention is so currently we have state management issues on the UI application, and I was exploring the options. So previously I described the approach using state machines, and there is a library for state machines in JavaScript, which is framework agnostic. So we can use it for our current Vue.js application, and we can use it for any other, like if we at some point decide to switch to React or other framework, we can still leave this state management mechanism untouched. And another option is like Vue native, Vue specific approach is to use Pinia library, which is similar to Redux, but it's like it's only for Vue.js. So if we change to something else, we'll have to rewrite everything. But it's a little bit simpler, and I could. So I built like 2 proof of concepts, and I think Xstate was more time consuming, and it's a little bit more boilerplate. So depending on what's our like what. No. So Pinia replaced Vuex.
I see. Okay. I know you really want to switch all this to React, but that's not really on the roadmap. So I wouldn't overwork it just so that we could do something that we may or may not do in the future. So I think it would be better just to use the Vue native, especially if it's going to be simpler.
Okay. And then we have decision. Yeah, so in order to fully integrate this Pinia or any other like new state management, I need to understand what should we have in the new dashboard, so we know what do we store in our state.
Yeah. So just to be completely honest with you, Serge, with all the stuff I have going on right now, I don't know when I'm going to have that UI to you. It's like not maybe with some of the other things, it's a little bit lower on the priority list right now. So I know that there's many things we would like to do with this app to make it better, but you're just going to have to like not make that a planning factor for yourself right now until some point in the future we're able to get a redesigned user interface with like all the answers. So in the meantime, it's going to be better to work on other like low-hanging fruit, like the updater. That's actually like a really important feature to get that working and make it correct. So can you still work, like, can you still make Pina work or get like state management working without having it be like the final solution?
Yeah, I think I can do that.
I mean, you can always refactor it whenever we change whatever the values are in the dashboard. I know it would be great to have like the final answer, but even that will probably change again. Even whatever I tell you, today will probably change in a month as we upgrade to the next version of the protocol.
Okay.
Jeremiah, about that, do you want us to prepare, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 mockups so that you can select one of them? Will it make the process easier?
No, we tried that. It's more complicated than that. It's based on some other changes that are going to be coming through as well. So it'll probably just be a waste of effort, honestly, at this point. Yeah. And we like also, Arthur's onboarding. This is something he's going to be taking over and getting more involved in pretty soon as well. And I'm going to be stepping out of the picture for this particular application, but we're just not there yet. Do you guys have like, I guess we didn't talk about next steps. Are you guys like just on hold until you get that, or do you guys have more work to do at this point?
I have a few more.
Yeah, I also have some stuff like updater and integration of Pina.
Okay. Is that stuff in like all of those tracked in the board or in the issues right now? We didn't talk about the board at all today.
Yes, my stuff is.
Okay.
Mine is not. I mean, only the publish workflow thing is not being tracked in issues and boards, but I will create them so we can track it.
Okay. Okay. So next time. So just first, like we used to do it this way, but in the future, let's give our updates. Go through the PRs. Let's go through the board, go through all the future work, and plan to give a demo, like an actual like build demo walkthrough of everything, of the current state of the application. Okay, let's make sure that we do that next time. And we do need to continue to test with the community, with not with Justin, but like that's not a testing solution. That's a great like first step for testing, but like we need to get we need to make sure that as these releases are getting propagated, that we're pre-releasing them, testing them. We have all these people like in our community that are like begging to test for us. So we should be utilizing that as much as possible. And I know another like initiative that Arthur was asking about was automated testing. I know that's something you've looked at, Serge. Is there, Arthur, have you had a chance to look into that anymore? Or do you have any thoughts on that right now?
No, I don't have any additional thoughts. I know that Vue comes with their own standard V test. I think that's the standard one, but I need to look into it more. But I think it would be great if we could have that into the project.
I think Justin was exploring this.
Yeah, just some cursory research on like kind of what options were, mostly with like Tori and things like that, but nothing to like a actual implementation.
I can send over the framework, but this is just the default one that Vue recommends, which is their V-test. So I think that would be a great start for us to get towards that, track towards like automated testing.
I remember a couple weeks ago we had talked about like error reporting format, and there was some like a template that we needed to produce. Did we make any progress on that task?
For desktop application?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did. We are now requiring log file to be submitted, and the operating system, like everything we need to know is in the log file, so we don't need anything much more.
Okay. I think it was something more like there was a modal that was an error that was popping up. And Serge, you needed like a UI for what that modal was going to look like.
Oh,
we
sorry,
discussed this maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. Is this ringing a bell for anyone?
Yeah, you mean the potential error pages for the application?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is also we need to discuss this.
Okay. Let's discuss it. Arthur, did you get a chance to work on that? I thought there was something you were doing with that.
Oh no, I haven't got a chance to work on it. But if you guys need, you're talking about the air modal issue, correct?
Yeah, we
There's
didn't
this
discuss it as a model, but yeah, as an error component for yeah.
Yeah, so I think the last part is that you needed a mock-up of what it could look like, correct?
All right.
Yeah, I mean, if it helps, I can go on Figma. I can create a mock-up that we can just use for that. I'll take a look at that today.
Okay, cool. Is there an issue open for that right now, Serge?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So are there any other open questions or issues that need
Yeah,
feedback?
for testing, the community testing. We talk about it, but we don't have any real plan for that. So what should we do for the community testing? Like, I usually, when a release is published, I just message Justin, and then like what? Justin will take care of that, or should I do anything? What is the process?
What do you guys think it should be, or what would you guys recommend?
If the community is willing to support, and if Justin can delegate that, I think that will be wonderful.
Yeah, I have no issue sending out like a message or reaching out, especially because a lot of the real excited members, that are excited to test and everything, are users that usually pretty active in the chat and everything. I don't know if it's something we'd want to put like a full announcement out, obviously, because that might attract a little too much attention. But I have definitely a large pool of people I can reach out to and be like, hey, can you test this out for me? And just kind of go from there. Or we can also
You mean
send it to our ambassador pool.
You mean like direct messaging them, Justin, or is there like a testing channel that we have?
We don't have a testing channel yet. Definitely something we could explore, though. Maybe create like a subgroup within the community, kind of pull people towards it.
Okay. Is it possible that we can remove you from the equation, Justin, and just put Oskin direct with the community so that like you don't have to, just to make it simpler?
Yeah.
Is there a way that we can just like make it, I don't know, like a testing channel that you create and announce to the community, hey, we have a testing channel, and then Oskin, every time there's a pre-release, he drops an announcement in that channel, and anybody that follows that channel can get it. And then Oskin like can, get feedback from people directly in the channel. People can create issues in the channel. And it's not like, you have to message them, they have to message you, you have to message Oskin. It's just making it a little bit more of a direct loop.
Definitely, yeah. I'll get a channel created, and then that way they can work out of there. I do think though we should have them put issues on the forums instead of back in that channel, though.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, but at least we can get the announcements out through that, or get people interested through that channel.
Exactly. Perfect. I'll get that going.
Okay. Arthur, can you take ownership of that as well to make sure that that's like integrated in like part of our testing workflow that we do for every pre-release we do going forward for the app?
Yeah, sure, sir. Sounds good.
Awesome. Okay. So any other questions right now?
Thanks to Ivan for making it progress while I was away.
No worries, no worries.
Oh, what did you work on, Ivan?
I take off from on the open sale feature, yeah, a bit. It was almost done, yeah. It hit the limit of the of the CI space, yeah. So that was the final issue, yeah, with that.
Okay, great. So it will work with the GPU now by default on the desktop app?
Yes, if the users download the version with OpenCL.
Yeah,
And
and
to
if
have
we
that,
install the runtime, yeah.
like
Is that
currently, if they want to use the GPU support, they have to build from the source. If they want to download the executable, we need to have the publish workflow refactored, which is the OpenPR at the moment. That needs to be finalized. But in the code,
Ah.
yes, it is possible. Like if they want to build from source, it's fine.
okay? Which most people have no idea how to do.
Yeah. That's why the publish workflow PR should be finished before that.
Okay, so that's what the publish workflow PR will allow for.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I didn't put 2 and 2 together on that one. And what is blocking the publish PR? Is it just approval from Nazar?
No. After OpenCL PR, the CI tests had changed. So I just reflected those changes into that PR, and that was creating some errors in the day. I searched for the bugs. The bugs were not related to me. It was related to GitHub, so it got resolved on their own. So now it's good to go. I will just make the double checks, like running all the exact commands on my local machine, see if it works. And then we will merge it, and then we will do a draft release to see that it actually produces all the executables. Then we are good to go.
Okay, and then we should verify that by testing it on different platforms
Exactly.
as well, right? Like with the community as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So have we tested build from source on all 3 platforms? Or I guess OpenCL, yeah, that is, well, Windows and Linux at least.
Yeah, 2. I don't think so. At least I didn't right now.
Okay.
CI
So we
tests
haven't
that now.
Sorry, Ivan?
I believe CI tests that. I mean, building on different platforms, yeah. Apart from macOS, I believe.
Yeah, but the
Okay.
actual runtime, like building is fine, but does it actually can use the GPU in the plotting?
Oh, not that one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need to test that too to make sure that it actually does use the GPU, because I mean, we've had a lot of issues just even getting it to work with the CLI without like installing special drivers. So, okay. So it sounds like there's still a bit of work to do. Like we've got maybe the infrastructure in place, but we're not really sure that it actually works yet. So that's another thing that we need to follow through on and make sure that end to end it actually works with, you know, either build from source or with the published version, that we can plot on the GPU, probably on a couple different GPUs. If not, then we need to know, like, okay, if I have a GPU, I have to go through these like 7 steps to get my GPU to work, and have that in the instructions as well. Otherwise, it's like, it's great. We have, like, it works if we build it from source on this one machine with this one GPU, but otherwise it's like not really useful for anybody in the community, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Who is like leading that initiative right now?
We haven't decided.
That issue.
I can do that.
Okay. Okay, I was gonna, yeah, let's let that be. I mean, you are like the GPU, you know, guru here. You with your homomorphic like fanciness that none of us understand the math behind. So you should definitely probably be the one to lead that.
Okay.
I know there's going to be all sorts of like Rustisms around building it that Yvonne will have to help out with. But yeah, okay. Yeah, so that's something like that is like would be great. Like along with the updater, you know, it's like not very nice stuff to have, but we really just got to follow through to make sure that it actually works and we're testing it. And it's not just like, well, the code builds and we deploy it and it's merged and hopefully it works. But we don't want to wait till like Gemini 2 to find out that a lot of the stuff is not working, or you know, or it's creating new bugs that we're introducing new challenges. Okay. All right. Anything else we need to discuss? All right. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye all.